To open the public service meeting.
Thank you. I guess I'll second it. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. That'd be funny if you said no. What would we do then? All right. So first of all, I just wanted to thank Jeffrey for putting together this agenda. Jeffrey's our administrative assistant, and he does a fantastic job. So thank you, Jeffrey, for this. Just want to tell the people here in this room, and also the people who are watching, the people who are at home. Tonight we have a bunch of different appointments. The mayor appointed, I think, majority of them are to the library board. Then we have the Conservation Commission and the HEDIC one as well. And so that's that. So what happens tonight, everyone?
And so does Memorial.
Sorry?
And
so does Memorial. Yep. Yes. Good call. So tonight what we're going to do is we're basically, kind of ask you, why you want to be involved, what your background is, and if any counselors have any questions, they in turn can ask you any questions. And if you have any questions, you're certainly more than able to ask us any questions. Then at our next city council meeting, we'll bring this up, and pretty much 99.9% of the time there's no issues, and it goes through, which is a good thing. Mayor Morris does a very good job on picking people, and I'm looking down at this agenda as well tonight. I stand by that comment. He does a very good job picking people to different boards. So having said that, let's make a motion. Oh, first, Dr. Stephanie Marcotte, we just do some housekeeping. She was also supposed to be here today to be interviewed for the library board. However, she has a different class, or she has a different place that she has to be tonight. I did talk to her today, and we talked for maybe about 20 minutes. And she's more than capable of being on the library board. In fact, I think she actually thought she was already on the library board, so this is kind of a formality. And she's been going to the last several meetings, which is good. She's very up to date in all the knowledge. And her biggest attribute that she wants to help with the library board is she wants to help in the marketing sense, make it more, I don't want to put words in her mouth. Any counselor can feel free to give her a call, but she wants to focus on the marketing side and getting more people interested in the valuable resource that we have. And I see that Counselor Joe McGivern has joined us as well. Thank you, Joe. All right, so that's that. So next we'll move on to Joan Plummer. Joan, still with us? There you are.
Yep, I'm there.
All right, Joan. So as I said earlier, we have Counselor Libby Hernandez, Counselor Howie Graney, Counselor Joel McGivern, Counselor Terry Murphy, and I think that's it. And I am Counselor Jim Leahy. Welcome, and thank you for volunteering your time. Thank you for hopping on this Zoom call meeting. And this order, it's the library board, and this will run to February of 2022. So having said all that, why don't you kind of give us a background, your background, and why you want to get involved with the board?
So I'm a newcomer to Holyoke. I've only lived here for about a year, but I am an avid library aficionado, and I am a microbiologist and a database programmer. So I have a feeling that maybe not the microbiology part so much, but I'm hoping to get into some data management stuff with the library and to help promote the library. I did get to visit it just right when we moved here and was very, very impressed with this library we have here in Holyoke.
Good, good. So microbiologist, now where is that, are you like Bay State or Holyoke Hospital?
No, I'm retired.
Oh, retired, congratulations.
Thank you.
What street do you live on in Holyoke?
Radcliffe Street over in the Highlands.
Sure. And how do you think your background, as you said, maybe not the microbiologist, but well, maybe so. I'm sure there are a lot of kids.
I'm sure kids are just germ machines, but no, I'm not worried about that. But I'm hopeful that I can get involved in some of the data management for the library, because that's something that I am pretty good at and I really like to do.
All right. So back when I was going to the library in elementary school, we had the Dewey Decimal System. I don't know if
I
you guys
remember that.
Yeah. So what kind of data management do you think the library could use?
Well, I don't really know because I haven't talked to anybody, but I am an Access database programmer. So, and I'm also pretty adept at Excel, use of Excel. So I have a feeling that people can find something for me to do.
Oh, yes. All right. Does any counselor have any questions? Yeah, Counselor Hernandez.
Hi,
Welcome.
thank you.
Yes, when you were speaking about the data management, what came to mind to me was that recently I had gone to the library before the COVID-19, and I was looking for an old newspaper article, and they handed me some boxes and whatnot, and I had to go through the boxes. But I'm thinking that with your experience in the Excel, that there might be a way that you can probably maybe organize the information in a way that we can find it more rapidly. And I'm sure that your skills that you have will be an asset to the library.
One of the things that I did when I was living in Maine, we worked with the Kennebec Historical Society, and I was one of the authors of their database. So yes, I can do that.
Thank you so much.
Sounds good. Okay, and just some more housekeeping. Counselor Lisi, I spoke to her earlier. She was supposed to be here. Well, she had a prior engagement that she booked out a while ago, but she sent her thoughts. Counselor McGivern.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and welcome to everybody. And I believe we have 3 candidates before us, but Joan, seeing we're having you up right now, the question I have is kind of got to lead into it a little bit is you may be familiar, you may not be familiar with the structure of how the library is governed, I guess you would say. The city, there's no question, owns the library, but we've had a group of people and the way libraries are structured in Massachusetts, a group of people that have been wonderful assets to not only the keeping of the library, but in fundraising efforts and in making things work in a very difficult financial time over the last couple of decades. We referred to them as the Friends of the Library. Several years ago, we took the effort to rebuild the library for what you saw on your visit, and we kept the old portion, a part of the old building, and structurally put a new addition onto it to make it work. And everybody is just, we're all very pleased, I think, as Hoyokers of the outcome. But we also, in doing it, we had to, ensure the state and the funding that, the city was the governing board. And we have a plan to merge together the 2 boards, so to speak. And I say that loosely. And I'm just asking if you're not aware of that you would be cognizant of it, that it's important to the powers that be that are watching us from Boston. The efforts, will be down the road where we do have, the library is included in the budget. The salaries that we pay are terrible. We're trying to work on that in our ordinance committee. We're trying to make people who work for the library feel good and be compensated for what they do, because Maria Pagan and her staff are tremendous. But Joan, I just ask you and our other 2 candidates that, you keep that in mind, that, down the road, we do have to merge everything together. There's state laws that don't allow municipalities to do certain types of fundraising. And we have to be careful how we fundraise outside of the revenue that the city looks for itself. But welcome, and thank you for stepping forward. It sounds like you have something to offer, and the board of directors is a good board of directors, and I think you'll fit right in.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Councilor Granny, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am, I was wondering if you might have any ideas how to ameliorate the relationships with the Holyoke Public Schools, the denominational schools, and the charter schools in Holyoke.
It's way too early for me to comment on anything like that. So no, I don't.
Oh, really?
Really.
Why not?
Because I have only just started. I've just moved here and there's a lot of learning to do before I would go ahead and really put my 2 cents worth in strongly on anything like that.
Okay,
You all set, Councilor Granny?
sure.
Okay, Councilor Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So first of all, let me thank both Joan and Jason. Jason's also going to be a library board, if I'm correct.
Yeah,
And going along the same lines as what Councilor McGivern just talked about, I would encourage the board, and with all, I mean, we have a very good director, but I think we need to try to come in and find a way maybe to allow the employees to accept additional responsibility so that maybe we can do it with a few less and be able to pay them a lot more. I mean, we're in a situation where we have a lot of people that, many people that work there that are really significantly underpaid. And I'm just, as you go in, I would just ask you to look at, are there possibilities of, especially when there's a vacancy, of combining the functions so that we might be able to pay people better and still have a very effective and well-run library. And this is not an indictment of what's going on in the library. It's a goal of trying to find the means to pay people a livable salary, and also, you know, in many cases, I know there's part-time because we can't afford full-time. Are there opportunities for us to be able to do that and make it a full-time position and not spend more money, but be able to give people more money? So that's, I don't have the answer. That's just something I would ask you both to look at as you start working there. You know, check the staffing, where's the expertise, and what can be done to streamline that if possible. And then from there, encourage us and others to improve the salaries for those people working there.
All set, Councilor?
Yep, all set, thank you.
Okay, seeing that there's no other questions, do you have any questions for us?
Probably, just not right now.
Oh, okay, so just to let you know, and let everybody else know, so what happens after tonight is at the full next city councilor meeting, we'll bring all these appointments up. Like I said, generally it goes pretty smoothly, and you'll get sworn in through our clerk. But from the meanwhile, if you do have any questions regarding this or anything, feel free to give any counselor a call anytime.
Thank you.
So I'll entertain a motion that this has been say complied with. What's that?
Do you want me to do the motion?
Yeah, make a motion that's been complied with, right, Joe?
That you conducted your interview and you present her as a candidate. We don't make recommendations at the committee level because it's a valid vote, and each city councilor will have a right to vote at the full city council meeting. But we just say that you did your interview and.
Okay, so just okay. All in favor?
Complied with's good, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. All right, so Joan, thank you very much. You can either hang out with us here, or you're free to leave. But I'll make a motion that we take up. I hope I say this right. Jason Lefebvre. No, he's laughing. I said no.
It's Lefebvre. That's okay. Hey. It's a nightmare of a last name. So you did it. You gave it a good shot. I don't know.
I'm sorry.
Don't worry about it.
I want to spell it phonetically.
I should have spelled it phonetically but I was too lazy to change it when I came in. So.
Okay. So another good appointment. The mayor is appointing him to serve on the library board as well, and his tenure will be until February of 2022. As people are probably guessing that this is a staggered board. So Jason, you kind of heard the first interview. Why don't you give us your background?
Sure. I'm originally from Holyoke. I actually worked at the library for 14 years. I started in 2005 in the children's room. I was a children's librarian for, time kind of blends together, especially during all this, but maybe 6 or 7 years, maybe slightly longer. And I was the assistant director from somewhere around 2013 or 2014 until I left October of 2019. I moved on to Amherst College, the Frost Library at Amherst College, working with the students, managing the student employees and the circulation desk. I consider the fact that I have relationships and rapport with the personnel that's already kind of there as an asset. I think it's hard to bridge a gap between a board and a staff because there's a distance that kind of can't be made up for. And I'm hoping to kind of bridge that gap or help to bridge that gap between the staff and the board so that everybody knows that we're all on the same, although we perform different functions, we're all on the same team. And I have a confidence that I can help slightly in that. That's my goal. The salary schedule at the library is obviously still a bit of a sore subject with me because as Councilperson McGivern said, it's not good. And it makes it hard to keep people long-term. It makes it hard to keep consistent staff. It makes it really hard to keep quality individuals, and it makes it impossible to recruit quality personnel. You can't put out the kind of job advertisements that we put out onto the Massachusetts Board of Library Commissioner webpage search engine and take it seriously at this point. So that's something that I feel passionate about. And I have ideas. Well, I mean, I have a lot of ideas about things, but I'm hoping that we can figure things out and help. I know the library board has been working hard on that for years. And I know there's lots of people on the city council that have been working hard on that for years, but that will be one of my focuses. And also just to speak to, look, I never know how to address people. What Councilperson Graney said in regards to the library kind of coexisting with the public schools and being an asset to the public schools. We have lots of things in place. One of the issues is getting people to the building, but there's a need for us to go to the schools. There's a lot of the student population that it's difficult for them to get. It's difficult for their families to get to the library. So when I was in the children's room, we did a lot of outreach. We did traveling. We had a traveling story time. So we were going to kindergartens and first and second grades, trying to share, stories. Whenever we could get some budget to get some books, we'd bring new books. We'd get gently used books. We have a lot of outreach programs, and then we have to really concentrate on programming that brings people to the building. So the folks that can get to the building want to come to the building, and the folks that can't still have access to it. Like bookmobiles are one thing, but when you have a huge renovation project that costs a lot of money, it's hard to make arguments for buying more stuff. So the new renovation is beautiful, but it hamstrings you a little bit on budget for things that you want to do and things that you actually can do. I mean, some satellite libraries would be nice. These are all long-term down the road, not really realistic things, but I'm really excited to be back, and that's it.
All right, Councilor Graney.
Mr. President, yeah, Jason, is it Jason?
It's Jason. Yep.
Jake, I appreciate your response. You anticipated the question. I was going to ask you the same question. I was very pleased with your answer. That's very, very significant, very sound philosophy as far as the relationship between a library and a public schools. Thank you very much. That was great input.
I had a 14-year advantage over Joan. So Joan, I'm sure will hit the ground running. But when you have a 14, even I can pass a test if I have 14 years to study for it. So I don't want to take too much.
I'm sure. I didn't want it to be an unfair question to her. I wasn't sure what her background was.
I totally hear you.
All right. Any other Councilor Murphy?
Hey, Jason, and I knew your name sounded familiar. And if I'm not mistaken, when I got on, you were talking to me about the salaries. So
it was unfortunately that just when I was leaving is when I actually got the letter pulled together. It was time. So I didn't think I was ever going to get that job in a million years. So I figured.
No, I appreciate it. And again, I don't know. I mean, if there's any way we can provide better career opportunities, like you say, so we can keep people. I don't know how we do it, but again, as much as we can do it, where we might not lose service capacity, but we maintain the staffing excellence consistently. Whatever you can do there, I would certainly try to endorse it and be with you. So, and again, I know just from your advocacy back in 2019 when I first got on the city council, I appreciate your dedication to the library employees, and to the library mission. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Grady. I'm sorry, Councilor McGivern.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and Jason, welcome. We appreciate you coming forward, and your experience at the library, I'm sure, will be a tremendous asset. Do you categorize or qualify yourself as a team player? And what do you think of the current staff that's at the library?
That's a great question. Yeah, I do consider myself a team player. I was actually crushed to have to leave the library. It was a tough decision. I had every intention of staying at the library basically until I retired, but finances became kind of untenable there. We have the hours of the library are a blessing and a curse. We need to offer the extent of hours that we do offer, but it requires for them to be parceled up into an odd kind of, that's why we have so many part-time staff. We have a bunch of very hardworking staff at the library. We have a lot of staff at the library that's pretty demoralized over the course of years based on maybe, I don't want to speak for them, but having been a part of them for a while, feeling as though they're underappreciated based on their level of compensation, and it's fair enough. We definitely could. I think Mr. Murphy's suggestions of trying to divide up the duties in a different manner so that less can get more is a solid idea. That becomes difficult when you're open 12 hours a day, 4 days a week, 4 days a week, and then Fridays and Saturdays. But I think it's a solid starting ground. And as long as the city council is willing to work, and I know they are, with solutions, I think the staff will be appreciative of that. I want to try to bring to the staff all of the great information and all the great work that everybody in the city is doing for them to try to make their situation better. That's kind of initially just my focus. But we have hard workers. We have people that have been there a long time. I mean, there are city employees that have worked, even if it's part-time, for the city of Holyoke for 20 plus years that are making $11.83 an hour to work there. It's rough, man. That's rough. That's something that I think everyone would agree we have to remedy. So I'm long-winded, so I'll cut myself off, but that's my general theory.
Never apologize to this body for being long-winded. You fit right in.
I think we also focus on the folks that are making the least there to start, because the folks that are making the most there are underpaid as well. But it's tragic what the people that are making the least there are getting paid.
Yeah, and like I said before, and you hit it correctly. We got a long way to go on salaries. Correct. And the library is the worst of the worst, and we're working on it.
I agree. I know you are.
Affordability is always part of it, but sometimes affordability is, people need a good wage for good living, and it's all part of it. I hear you on the hours. I just came from a board of directors meeting for the Holyoke merry-go-round, and we're just waiting to get the green light that it's safe to open. But one of our obstacles is the hours of the merry-go-round was some 35 to 40 hours a week. And you just can't do it. When the revenue coming in doesn't support the salaries. So we're looking at redoing hours that make sense that allow people to take advantage of it. But the library is different. You got different times a day for different populations. And the
library is grant funded. There's a lot of grant funding that comes in based on us being open those operating hours. Yeah. So it's a complicated thing. And I love the hours. It just makes it trickier to have less people do more because there's just a lot of hours.
Yeah. The only thing I asked of both you and Joan is when you get there is it's the first year we haven't been able to do it in about 3 or 4 years, is the annual fundraiser where we have mini golf in the library. And that's a great night.
It is.
That's not so much anywhere. The golf, Jerry, but the efforts of getting everybody together and enjoying the library in a different way. But thank you both, and look forward to working with you.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Seeing there's no other questions, I'll make a motion that this has been complied with as well.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. The ayes have it.
Aye.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time and for volunteering, Jason. All right. So let's move along. I don't know if you noticed, Jason and John, I put up the Holyoke Public Library plan. All right. So we have Mr. Richard Purcell. Mayor Morris appointed him to the Commission on Soldiers Home Memorial, and his term will run to September 2022. Good evening. There he is. Good evening. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you guys. Oh, thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. So I think you were here. You heard the other interviews. So basically, just give us your background. Tell us why you want to be a part of this, and we'll go from there.
Well, this is my fourth term on the War Memorial Commission. I'm a United States Army veteran, Desert Storm veteran. I'm an American Legion Post 25 member for 27 years.
355?
No, I'm American Legion Post 25 at the War Memorial Building.
Yep.
I'm a former chairman of the United Veterans of Holyoke. I'm a former past county commander of the American Legion. I've been on, like I said, this is my fourth term on the War Memorial Commission. We service the veterans. We do our best to do what we can for the veterans. And a lot of people don't agree with my politics, but we all agree with what we care about veterans the most.
So true. I'm just trying to take notes. So fourth term on the War Memorial Commission, past
Right.
United Vets, past president of the United Vets of Holyoke. I missed the middle one. What did you say between those?
United Veterans. County commander, past county commander of the American Legion. All the American Legion posts in the county.
Perfect. Okay, so you obviously have the background for this. Does any counselor have any questions? Counselor McGivern?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Richard, it's good to see you. Before I say anything, just want to say thank you for serving.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. I have a conflict here, Mr. Chair, because both my father and my Uncle Fred, who was my godfather, were members at Post 325. So just saying that alone is enough for confirming your appointment. But
Thank
Richard,
you.
you've been around, so you know the details, and there's a lot of things going on in the building. What are your thoughts about the building itself and how we can preserve it, what it should be used for, and what it should not be used for?
So we recently we might be getting a CPA grant to do the cleaning on the outside of the building. We've applied for that, and it's likely that we're going to get the grant. And the building's never been cleaned since it was built in 1936. So we're trying to get that taken care of through a CPA grant. It's going to be like $40,000 to $50,000 to get it cleaned. Right now, I'm on the first and the third Saturday of the month at the War Memorial Building. We have a farmer's market inside the War Memorial Building. I'm the one that the Chamber of Commerce contacted about having it put in there, and I brought it to the commission. The commission fully agreed, because food justice in Holyoke is, as you might know, my background is a lot of it was with Nueces Raíces in Ward down on Jones Ferry Road, and just getting healthy food to our citizens was a great concern of mine. And the War Memorial Commission started it. I'm there every farmers market. I'm there. I help testing. That we keep our capacity because of COVID. We're only allowed a certain amount of farms in there, so we have 3 farms. And I'm helping screen the people as they come in the building and making sure everybody's doing everything safe and not tearing up the building. Another initiative that I just started too, and this is in the works. We have memorials throughout the whole city, and one of our charges as a War Memorial Commission is to take care of all the war memorials and all the veterans memorials throughout the city. And I brought it to the commission. This is just like in the last month. And we've already started the paperwork to get it done, is to invite people that live in the neighborhood, citizens that live in the neighborhood of wherever that memorial is. You have the Adopt an Island for throughout the city, that program, the Adopt an Island. We're trying to start a program where we can have a citizen can adopt a memorial, and they can maintain it and clean it up and and call us if there's a problem there. We can come and help, see what we can do to make it better. But actually, the neighborhood and the citizens getting involved in helping us maintain the memorials throughout the city. That's the latest thing where I'm doing. And of course, we've been Valentine's dancing. We brought championship wrestling back one night there. And we're trying to do whatever we can to use that building, because I think it's very underutilized, and so that the whole city can enjoy it too, and to bring people downtown. That's our main goal, is to utilize the building more. And of course, the auxiliary police have their headquarters downstairs too. So we have to make sure that space stays safe, just because of the equipment they have down there.
Richard, that was the exact answer I was looking for. Is yes, the building has been underutilized, and those are some wonderful programs and ideas, and I appreciate the way you approached that. I didn't know the farmers market was going to open up in the building. That's a great idea.
So it started in December, and we have it all the way till the end of March.
Nice. I'm glad. What day?
Saturday, the first and third Saturday of the month.
First and third. Okay.
The produce is all organic, and if you have HIP and you have SNAP, you come in there, you get your HIP and your SNAP, and after you get your fresh organic vegetables that are trying to make people healthy, you get it put back on your card. So it's no cost. You get $40 a month, and if you're a family, you get $80 a month of fresh organic vegetables. And the vegetables are grown in, we have a lot of root vegetables because it's wintertime, but we have greenhouses too that the farmers are growing in. We have R&M Farm, Atlas Farm, and Red Fire Farm in there now.
Excellent. As you know, I think we all know, the War Memorial Commission is in charge of all the monuments in the city. The War Memorial itself is a monument, and that's why I like to see it utilized to get more people to appreciate it. Councilor Leahy and myself sit on the parade committee, and the parade committee has a very close connection with the JFK Memorial up at the top of Suffolk Street. And the city's done some great things with that. The city owns it. It comes under the umbrella of your commission, but with some park stuff too. So it's kind of a multi governing, type situation. The parade committee years ago made a connection with the Kennedy family and made a promise to the Kennedy family about the upkeep. And the parade committee has contributed over the years to work with the irrigation with the landscaping company, the monument itself, and keeping it up. Last year, the past grand marshals got together to look at it, and there's some issues with the foundation where there are cracks and movement that could become dangerous if not, sometime very soon corrected. The parade committee has offered to help paying for it, and there is a CPA grant application, but I think it's something that's just, if you keep an eye on it, we would appreciate it.
So Joe, that is we have that issue on our plate too at the War Memorial. There's actually, the foundation has been inspected, and we're well aware of it. And it actually looks worse than the foundation too. It looks like an automobile or something crashed into it and took a big chunk of the granite out up there. So we're well aware of it, and we're working on it now. That's actually on our agenda every meeting.
Thank you. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
You want me to go, Mr. President, or you want to have Councilor Greeny go?
No, you go ahead, Councilor Hernandez.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Mr. Greeny. Welcome, Richard Purcell. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, Libby.
Mm-hmm.
My ward counselor.
Yes, I just wanted to say that, I've known Mr. Purcell. I know that he's going to do great with his reappointment. He's a great leader of this community. I happened to have the opportunity to race against him in a dragon boat racing while he was representing the veterans over in Springfield. And dragon boat racing. And it's in these boats that it has like a commander in the front, and then everybody's paddling, we have to synchronize to gain momentum. And it was like a wonderful experience. And there was Mr. Richard Purcell always representing, and participating. Also, I've had the opportunity to work with Nueva Esperanza and as in the agriculture, and how important that is. And Mr. Purcell has always been an innovative leader there too. Like he said, just instilling healthy foods and genuinely invested in our community. So thank you so much, Mr. Purcell,
Thank you, Libby.
for once again, dedicating your time, and we look forward to having you.
So can I talk about the Dragon Boat racing just for a quick second?
Sure.
Since she
Go
brought
ahead.
it up. So we have a Dragon Boat team that races out of Holyoke Rose, and it's all veterans that are on the team. It's the first veteran Dragon Boat team in the United States. And it really helps. It does a lot of, veterans are team oriented. So we have to act like a team in order to make that Dragon Boat. And we're the first Holyoke, 2 parades ago, the Dragon Boat won patriotic theme of the year, of the float of the year in the St. Patrick's Day parade.
Cool.
So and it's a really good, and it's right here in Holyoke. Everybody comes to Holyoke to Dragon Boat race, and because of COVID, we didn't have many races last year, but this year we have 5 Dragon Boats throughout New England, Dragon Boat races to go through in New England, and it's a lot of fun, like Libby said, and it's just veterans doing what they do, and we're going against like one of the race. I used to race for Bay State because I'm a Bay State employee for 29 years, and that's where I learned about Dragon Boat racing. And I was at one of the festivals in Springfield, and a team came up, and there were a bunch of young kids from Boston, and I said, well, who sponsors you guys? And they said the Chinese government. I said, well, we don't have any money like that, but we're gonna have a lot of fun with you young people. And that was just one of them. I forgot to mention another thing too. I was Holyoke's Veteran of the Year in 2018. I'm sorry, I forgot about that. That was at the high school. I forgot about that.
It's okay. Councilor Graney?
Yeah, just to welcome Mr. Purcell. Just you made an interesting statement about your politics earlier in the evening, and certainly reasonable people have a right to disagree reasonably as far as politics are concerned. But I will tell you one thing: I certainly do respect your dedication to your country, and I respect your dedication to the community, and I respect your dedication to all veterans and everything that you've done in this community. And I'm sure that you will do a good job on the commission.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's basically what I have to say. Certainly a reappointment is going to be beneficial to the city.
Thank you, Holly.
Okay.
Councilor Murphy?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I would just also like to thank you for your service. Oh, and one last thing, and I think the Soldier Memorial Commission also involved with Veterans Park, right?
Correct. That's where the main memorials are. The World War II Memorial, Lady Liberty,
right. I know.
World War I, Vietnam veteran,
yeah.
Korean War. That's the main.
I mean, I know, I want to say about a year ago, I was there at the War Memorial, and we were talking about some of the monuments in need of refurbishing or improvements to make sure that we're not going to let them fall apart. So, I mean, has there been any to try to get CPA funds or some other kind of monies to make sure that we can preserve monuments to people, obviously people that gave the ultimate in many cases that in Veterans Park? Because I know then we were talking about some serious concerns. So.
So Lady Liberty, that's a historic sculpture from a really great sculptor. So that's been cleaned, and we're gonna that was because that's right in the center in the park, and we're constantly going over there, making sure the flag is lit up and looking at the memorials itself. Most of them are in fenced, so there's no way that somebody can go in there and trash them like they did the JFK. Like it looks like a car actually ran into the JFK And there's nothing, there's no fence around that, so you can't protect it. But all, for the most part, the memorials have been, they're in good shape at the Veterans
Okay.
Park. Lady Liberty was our main concern.
Wasn't
And she's
Lady
been
Liberty a
clean.
CPA grant, Rich?
I think it was.
Yeah, because
I'm
Mike
pretty sure
Paul
it
said he
was.
led the charge in the committee.
Yeah, and so Cesar Lopez, a former school committeeman, was in charge of helping us get that when he was on the commission.
Thank you
Awesome.
very much.
Mr. Chairman?
Thank you again for your service.
Yeah, so,
Mr. Chairman?
yeah, go ahead, Councilor Granny.
Yeah, just quickly, Rick, the major concern about Lady Liberty, I think it was the names. The names have been kind of in disarray, and they were trying to research the names to get the names back on that monument. Do you have any
Correct.
update on that or anything?
I don't have any of that, but I can, but we have our next meeting on the 5th of March. I can bring it up.
I appreciate that, because that was one of the main concerns. The names on that particular monument weren't legible.
That's correct. That is correct. You're right.
Okay, well, thank you. And as somebody said earlier, I don't care about somebody's politics when it comes to volunteering and working for the betterment of the community. And that's exactly what you're going to be doing and what you have been doing. So I applaud you for all the work that you've done in over the decades, I would say. So I would make a motion that this has been complied with.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Ayes, the ayes have.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much for the good interview.
You're welcome.
All right, moving along. All right, make a motion to take off. And I know this gentleman, and it's another tough name for me, but it's make a motion to take off the table a great appointment by the good mayor of Holyoke, Dr. John
Perdrizet.
Perdrizet. It's like Chevrolet.
Perdrizet.
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 Yeah, like, sort of like Chevrolet is what I tell people. I've been called Dr. Prednisone, Percocet, you name it. So
I'll just call you Dr. P.
Yes, that works.
All right, Dr. P. All right, so you've sat here and you've watched all the other interviews. This one is for the Conservation Commission, and this is going to run to February 23. Obviously, another very important. I mean, all the boards are important, but this is obviously another important one. So why don't you just give us, we all know you, but let's just give us your background and that sort of thing.
Sure. I came to Holyoke in 92 now, so it's been 29 years, somewhere around there, and moved in, and most of you know that I bought a piece of property on the corner of Cabot and Linden Street and turned it into a veterinary hospital. So I've got a veterinary hospital in the city that has been working continuously for 23 years. And that's primarily what I do. Is it's both large and small animal. I go out in the country. I'm up into the hill towns everywhere from the Vermont border down to the Connecticut border and out towards the Berkshire. So it covers quite a large area with the large animal. But most of the small animal is right here in Holyoke, Chicopee area that I service. And one of the things that happened was I'm putting a clinic into a area that was zoned residential. So you're putting a business into a residential area. And I learned a lot about the whole process of trying to get that approved and having to deal with mollifying or assuring the abutters that it wasn't going to be a crazy operation. So I've got some experience of dealing with people who are worried about what's happening around them when it comes to putting anything into an area or modifying anything in their neighborhood. So I come with a clear head towards that. I'm a business owner in the city, and I've got a veterinary degree, a DVM degree. I also have a PhD in virology. And
what?
A PhD in virology.
Biology, okay. Wow.
Virology, and a master's degree in Chinese medicine. So a lot of educational experience. And I think the only reason I bring that up is in order to get all those degrees, you spend a lot of time looking at a lot of papers and a lot of material. And from what I experienced, I was asked, thank you very much, Mary Moriarty. I see her on the screen. I was asked to participate or at least listen in on the last meeting, and I realized just how much information needs to go into one of these meetings and how much you need to read and prepare. And so I'm well qualified for reading and preparing.
I'd say you are. Councilor McGivern, I see your hand up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Doctor, welcome. And just let me start by saying thank you. You did a great job over the last couple of decades, and you proved what you said you would do. You're able to operate the hospital, within a residential neighborhood, and that's not something that's easy. And you've done it in good spirit and in collaboration with your neighborhood. It's a neighborhood I think you probably don't remember that I more or less grew up in, and it means a lot. Excuse me, it means a lot to me.
Mm-hmm.
Conservation Commission, you just hit a lot of highlights, and I think you get an idea of what you're getting yourself into. There's no question. You've got the qualifications. So this question, I think my question it leads right into this. It's conservation is important, but economic development is important too. Sometimes the two clash. How do you see yourself in that type of an issue of being able to promote economic development within the city, but meeting the conservation standards that are also so important?
Very good question. I think everybody's has to worry about trying to stay moderate these days. And in that regard, again, coming from a business background, I understand the need to develop. I understand the need for people to chase their dreams and find fulfillment. So I'm very sensitive to people's desires for progress. At the same point, I've always been conservation minded. I was at Wesleyan University where I went undergrad, and myself and two other people started a conservation group for the university called Ecology House, where students way back then we were talking about, this was back in the 70s, we were talking about solar power, and we had a house that the university gave to us to try to implement as much conservation-minded group think that we could utilize with that. So in that regard, I also am very concerned about wildlife and natural habitat, and certainly endangered species. So I'll do what I can do to protect those, because I find them so integral and important in this time of climate change. Everybody's become much more conscious of planet Earth, and those pictures we all saw from NASA back in the 60s of our planet from Earth, I think changed the whole national consciousness, the whole world consciousness. They think this is a fragile place that we live on, and we all need to take good care of it. And at the same time, we have to live our daily lives too. And I'd be willing to try to walk that narrow road. And there's certainly many experienced people on the Conservation Commission that will help guide me and help me as I start this journey.
I appreciate the answer, and I thank you for being able to answer it and thinking deeply into the subject. I mean, you think about Holyoke, we have the best of three worlds. We have some beautiful residential neighborhoods, some good commercial development that's older than zoning itself. And conservation is always been near and dear to the hearts of Hoyokers. I mean, our mountain range is probably the most protected mountain range in Western Mass when you think about it. Mm-hmm. And thinking of that, there is one project that's going on. I'm not sure if you're aware of it or have any thoughts about it, but one of the travesties when the ski area was closed down for economic reasons, and that's the type of coexistence I like, is passive recreation such as the Mountain Reservation, being able to enjoy the reservoirs without doing any damage to them, and being able to do things, whether it's on the mountain or anywhere within the city where conservation preservation exists. The quarry, when the ski area closed and everything happened so quick, all of a sudden we found out that there was an operating quarry, which most of us know was a fib, we'll say. We lost a court battle, and the quarry was allowed to exist in a time frame that they kind of pushed, and now the quarry is done. There is a group that's trying to reclaim the quarry, and the reclamation is with fill that is, I understand, regulated, but I'm not sure if you're familiar with this, if that's a good way to get that quarry filled in, which I think is what we'd all like to see. Are you, any thoughts on that, or is it something you just like to look into?
Yeah, I'd prefer to look into it. I'm not that familiar with it, but of course, we need to review, especially what wildlife and habitat has developed there in the meantime.
And that's all part of it, but I appreciate your answer, and thank you for coming forward, and looking forward to working with you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, we'll go Councilor Hernandez, then Councilor Graney.
Thank you, Mr. President. Welcome, Dr. Perdrizet.
Hi,
Very
lady.
happy. Yes, how are you? And this comes more like as a compliment. I mean, Dr. Perdrizet is he lives in Ward 4, so I'm his city councilor. He also has his business. Yes, he also has his business here. And I just wanted to piggyback on what he said, that how well he has been able to balance, right? Having the business in our ward where there's residents around him, and how well he has been able to take in consideration the neighbors, and how sensitive he has been, and has been able to integrate for these decades that he has had his business there in a way that welcoming and accepting to us all here. So I want to commend you, Dr. Perdrizet, and all that you do for our community, for our pets. He's actually he has been the doctor for my German Shepherd, Zion, for the last 10 years, and we appreciate that. And I know that you'll do an amazing job if once the city council votes all these appointments. Thank you for volunteering your time, sir.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Councilor Graney?
Yes, Dr. P. Just briefly, one of the most beautiful natural resources in the city of Holyoke is the Whiting Street Reservoir. I was just wondering if you have heard anything about the commission that's meeting on that natural resource. I've been trying to get minutes for meetings, or getting some information on what's going on with the Whiting Reservoir. It's near and dear to my heart. It's something that many years ago the youth of Holyoke used as a fishing area, a recreational area, and I was wondering what your take is on that beautiful piece of property.
Well, I don't think there's anybody that's going to disagree with you that it's a beautiful piece of property. It's one of the gems of Holyoke, and it's nice to see more and more cars parking up there with people walking around that reservoir and getting to see it. I'm not familiar with that, but that will be one of the first things I could do, Mr. Green, is to check in on that for you, but I'm not familiar with it.
I would appreciate that a great deal. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Councilor, is that hand back up again, or is it? You have any,
No, I'm sorry. I'll lower it. That was from before.
Okay. All right. So I'll make a motion. This has been complied with.
Second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Once again, like everybody else, thank you so much for your volunteerism. And,
Thank you
for having a beautiful animal hospital in our city.
Thank you very much. You all have a good evening.
You're welcome. You too.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, Jeffrey, do we have Ms. Pantoja with us? Did she come?
She did get an invitation. I sent her the Zoom information. I did not hear back from her. Councilor Hernandez said she had reached out to her as well and hadn't heard back.
Okay, so we'll just we'll hold it to committee. I mean, I know her. I think everybody knows. So we'll follow up with her.
It's tax season.
Oh, there you go. You're right.
I will note too that appointment appears to appears to just go through June, so I'm not sure what kind of timeline that creates for appointing it.
Yeah,
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, go ahead.
Rosa is a former Holyoke High School student. I'd like to see an interview with her. I'd like to get her on that commission if we possibly could. She's a great kid. She was a member of the Holyoke High School band, and I chaperoned many trips with the band, one to Montreal and one to Disney World in Florida, and she was a credit to the band. She was a great musician, and I'd love to see her working on this commission. That'd be great. So hopefully Jeff can reach out to her to see if we can to get her because she'd be a valuable asset to us. Thank you.
So having said that, thank you, Councilor Granny. Maybe Jeff, if you could reach out to her, and maybe if she can send an email to all the councilors, just kind of giving her background and that sort of thing. Maybe we can get this going.
As a matter of fact, I worked for many years with her father Felipe, who was a great educator as well in the Holyoke Public Schools.
Excellent. Okay. So having seen that, Jeffrey, is that it?
See, you already noted Dr. Marcotte, and yeah, it looks like that's everybody.
All right. So first of all, I just want to say thank you for everybody for coming on, especially the councilors who aren't on this, Councilor Granny, Councilor Murphy, and Councilor McGivern. I also want to thank Councilor Hernandez. And also, I'm not sure if I said it, I might have, but Councilor Lisi wanted to be here tonight, but she was unable to, she had a prior engagement. And also thank you, Jeffrey. So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
Night, everybody. Nice job.
Thank you. Have a good night, guys.